Hello, everybody. Welcome along to Sportsbet TV. We're looking forward to the action on Saturday, the 21st of December, the shortest day of the year, of course, and the last Saturday before Christmas. I'm Paul Alster. I'm really excited about what's coming on Saturday and, of course, going forward to the Christmas period. And I'm going to be back with you on Christmas Eve, offering you my thoughts on Boxing Day, where there's some fantastic racing across Britain and Ireland, including, of course, the King George meeting at Kempton Park. Now, if you're new to the service, do press the subscribe button just below the screen. You can then join for free and get my free selections every time I post. And if you're interested in more than just a couple of free selections at the weekend, then you can sign up to my Out in Front subscription service, the link for which you can find in the description box below this screen, and you'll be able to get plenty more selections, all of them at decent prices, nearly always good each way prices, many of them double figure odds. And this Saturday, I have four recommendations across Haydock and at Ascot. Now, I have two free selections for you here at Sportsbet, one at Ascot and one at Haydock on Saturday. Last week, there was just the one. That was Earn River over at Doncaster, who was running a perfectly good race. The race hadn't really got going when he just met the fence wrong and came down just after halfway. So we'll never know whether or not he would have got involved at what is by far his favourite track. So we didn't get to know too much last Saturday. Let me take you then to the first of my two selections free here at Sportsbet. And I'm taking you to the big race of the day first. Ascot 225 is the Grade 1 long walk hurdle. It is, of course, a big trial for the Stayers hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival in March. The going is good to soft at Ascot, so much better ground than is normally the case at this time of year. There are 10 runners, and they include Cramble for Fergal O'Brien, who won this very race 12 months ago, when you may remember him having that fantastic duel with the now retired Paisley Park, who'd won the race 3 times previously. He just got up in the last 2 strides to beat the great Paisley Park, and Cramble is back to defend his crown. Now, he failed to build on that fine win here last December in 2 subsequent starts, both at the big festivals at Cheltenham and Aintree. But unlike last year, he arrives here without a run for over 8 months. He does go well fresh, but I just think he might have his work cut out to follow up this time around. The one to beat is Strong Leader, the market leader for Ollie Murphy, a horse who's really established himself very close to the top of the tree in this division over the last year, with wins in the Grade 1 Liverpool Hurdle at the Aintree Festival in April, and then another success on his recent reappearance when he outstayed Monmi Run in the Grade 2 Long Distance Hurdle at Newbury last month. Now, he probably wouldn't want the ground to dry out any further, but with the yard absolutely flying, he's the one to catch, although I don't think 9 to 4 at the time of this recording doesn't look great value. Now, the Wold Park for Gordon Elliott is 4 to 1 shot or thereabouts, and he's the shortest price of the 4 Irish challengers for this coveted prize. Now, he arrives here on a 5-timer after wins between 2 miles and 3 furlongs and 3 miles, the latest of which was his convincing defeat of Gowel Road over 3 miles in a handicap at Cheltenham's October fixture. That was a big effort. He's been raised £7 to a new career high mark of 152, and that now makes handicaps a big challenge. So no surprise to see him going up to higher grade. But this is a new test. He's taking on much, much better horses, and we'll find out whether or not he's up to the challenge. I just feel that he might come up a little bit short. Charles Burns, also training out in Ireland, sent Shoot First across the water to win in Britain a valuable 3-mile handicap hurdle at Haydock last time off a mark of 139. And while that was a fine effort, this is a much deeper race, and he needs to find another £10, I think, to trouble the principals. Now, the unexposed Irish runner is the 4-year-old Eagle Fan, taking on older horses, far more experienced, but he is trained by the excellent William Durkin, who I suggested as a trainer you should always keep on the right side. Now, Eagle Fan takes a big step up in trip, having mainly been campaigned at 2 miles, but he did run well when he tackled 2.5 miles for the first time last time, and was third to the very smart Home by the Lee in a Grade 2 at Navan. I think his odds, very big odds each way, are a bit of an insult, although of course he does have his stamina to prove. Now, for the Brits, Blue King Daru for Paul Nichols At 5 years old is another who has time on his side, and he ran a tremendous race in this 12 months ago as a 4-year-old when he had every chance approaching the last but just faded into fifth behind Crambo. Now, that was his one and only try at 3 miles, and it wouldn't be unreasonable, I think, to suggest that with an extra year on his back, he may be stronger and have a better chance of seeing out the trip on Saturday. He's got a lot of ability. But my selection here is the only Irish runner I haven't mentioned. This is Hidden Valley Lake, trained by the excellent Henry de Bromhead and ridden by a fine Irish rider, Dara O'Keefe. This horse is having only the 8th run of his career and is already a winner of 3 of his 6 runs over hurdles. He was the winner of a Grade 3 novice hurdle in 2022. He produced a fine performance to land the Grade 2 Boyne hurdle at Navan in February of this year, beating Beacon Edge by over 3 lengths and conceding £3 to the useful runner-up. That was a particularly commendable effort, as he had taken a very nasty fall on his previous outing, which was on his chasing debut 2 months earlier, and connections have decided to stick with hurdles for the time being. He was given another 2 months rest after that and returned at Aintree in April to finish third to strong leader in the Grade 1 Liverpool hurdle, in which he was a little bit short of room going to the final flight. I don't think he would have won, but he might have got a bit closer than the eventual 5 lengths or so margin by which he was beaten. Now, this is a horse who goes well fresh, and he may still have more improvement in him over Timber. So, Hidden Valley Lake, I think, is the value at the 9-1 each way at the time of this recording, offered both with William Hill and Bet365. So, Hidden Valley Lake is my first selection here at Sportsbet on Saturday. My second is in the finale at Haydock, when it'll be getting pretty dark on, as I said, the shortest day of the year. It's the 3:15, the 3-mile handicap hurdle, and unlike Ascot, it's going to be a real slog. Soft ground, heavy in places, 11 runners. And on the face of it, Castle Russian for Nicky Richards ran the perfect trial for this when he was 4th over the course and distance on his reappearance 4 weeks ago in a better race, fading approaching the last. He'll be fitter and runs off the same mark, but the fact remains that he's been beaten every time he's tried this trip, and I'm not convinced he's going to see it out in the forecast conditions. A similar comment applies to the early favourite, Magical King for Stuart Edmonds, although his sole attempt at this distance came last time out on his first run since the spring, in which he appeared to be going best between the final 2 flights, but eventually faded to finish third in a decent race at Aintree, beating 11 lengths. Now, that came on good ground, so his stamina is going to be thoroughly tested on Saturday in the bog-like conditions. We'll find out just what he's made of. Now, the betting 5-1 the field, so this race is wide open. The remarkable The Imposter, trained by Nigel Hawke, had won 9 of his previous 10 starts, all in handicap hurdles, prior to running poorly first time out this season, back over this course and distance in a Grade 3 event 4 weeks ago. He was pulled up when he was well behind before the 7th flight. He'd only just gone past halfway, and that run was just too bad to be true. There must have been an explanation. Maybe he was short of work, but I wouldn't be as quick to write him off as the bookies have been in offering a tempting 10-1 that he might bounce back. We'll have to wait and see. Spike Jones for Sam Drinkwater scrambled home in a little race at Lingfield last time, but showed a good attitude. This, though, is a lot tougher. Supremely West for Dr. Richard Newman and Jamie Insole is mighty consistent, but he remains £6 higher than his last win. He shaped well on his reappearance when third at Hexham 10 weeks ago, and this time he's got his ground. While Mel Rowley, who's been amongst the winners of late, has My Bobby Dazzler, who would have found the 2.5 miles too sharp on his return, went down the field at Carlisle behind Castle Russian, but I think will be much better suited by the return to this trip and ground. So a bold show could be on the cards for My Bobby Dazzler, on whom Callum Pritchard's £7 claim is going to come in very handy. But eventually, my choice here, and the selection, is Stratton Oak Mount, trained by Kaylee Wonnacott and the Mount of Ben Godfrey. This horse did really well and was well placed by Wonnacott last season, returning from a spell between the flags. He won 2 races, one at Southwell, one at Exeter, and was placed on all the other 4 starts out of the total of 6 outings. This horse is ideally suited by 3 miles in testing ground, so the good to soft ground would have been as quick as he would want it when he was a promising third on his reappearance at Chepstow last month following a long summer break, and I think he's likely to have come on quite a bit for that outing. The yard has had very few runners this month. I think only 3 or 4 runners, but they've all run well, or at least 3 of the 4 that have run well. And so I'm optimistic that Stratton Oakmount is going to give it a really good go here in the very testing ground. And despite this being by some way the toughest task he's faced so far, I can see him running a big one. He was as big as 16 to 1 earlier in the day. He's now down to 12 to 1 each way at the time of this recording, offered by Paddy Power and Betfred, and I think that still looks a shade generous. So Stratton Oakmount is my choice, the second of my 2 free tips here at Sportsbet on Saturday. As I mentioned earlier, if you're looking for more selections, then check me out at Out in Front via the link in the screen description box in the screen below. But that's just about it for now. Don't forget to join me on Christmas Eve when I'll have at least 2 and maybe 3 selections for you for Boxing Day. So enjoy this weekend. Happy punting, and I'll be back with you on Christmas Eve. Bye bye for now.